welcome everyone to this recorded Zoom meeting. Today we're going to go through our wonderful journey to France. It is called the Liberation Tour, and we are following in the footsteps of heroes, literally. I'm Anne with Fulby Olsen with Executive Travel here in Lincoln, Nebraska. My accent is not exactly American, as you may already have noticed. I am born in Denmark, lived there my first 25 years, and then moved to Greece. I've lived there 30-some plus years now. But I work over here in Lincoln, Nebraska with Executive Travel. I have been with the company for 13 years and led the group department. Met a lot of interesting people during those 13 years. One of the key persons I have met and one of my very best friends here is Jerry Meyer with the National Guard Museum. Once we met years ago, Jerry and we brainstormed and we said we have to have a tour over to France to commemorate everything around D-Day, the Normandy, the role of the Americans during Second World War and after. So we've set up a tour. We've done it twice, actually. This is going to be our third trip over to France, and this is what we want to share with you today. We want to share with you the highlights of this amazing, actually life-changing journey to France. And with me, I have Jerry Meyer with the National Guard Museum, Historical Museum in Seward. We've also got Brigitte from France. She's here. Good morning. Well, good afternoon, Brigitte, to you. Brigitte is joining us too, and we're very grateful for that, so that Jerry and Brigitte can kind of go over the highlights of the tour. So Jerry, do you just want to do a quick introduction to yourself, and we'll have Brigitte, and then we're going to get started.
Well, thank you, Anne. I'm Jerry Meyer. I'm a retired colonel with the Nebraska National Guard. I spent 32 years. I'm the Nebraska National Guard historian currently at the museum here in Seward. So I will tell the listeners and viewers out there that this is an A team. I mean, this is really a professional team here. I've been very fortunate to work with Anne and Brigitte. So I would like to turn it over to probably France's best tour guide that you'll ever see is my sister, Brigitte.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brigitte. And as you hear, I've got an accent as well. We are the Scandinavian team. So I'm actually Swedish, Dutch, German, French, living in Paris since 25 years ago. And I got into the World War II history very much through my father, because he grew up in Amsterdam during the Nazi occupation. And so he dragged me along to all the World War II sites when I was a kid already. And now today I'm a licensed official tour guide in France, so I can guide all museums and everything. And I'm going to do a mix between, of course, the Second World War, and we have Jerry, our expert, with us as well. And then I'm going to add stuff like French history, how to make champagne and stuff like that. So you get all the local color from France as well on the trip. That's me.
All right. Thank you both. I'm going to share my screen, and then we'll bring up our PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to find that down here and just share that real quick with everyone. Turn that into a presentation mode. And here we go. So let's just start and jump right into it. I will speak about a few slides here, and then I'm going to turn it over to the experts. But we do fly in and out of Paris. So we start our journey on July 13th, and we're flying into Paris. And we're flying also home from Paris. And then what we do is a zigzag, or I don't know, it looks like a Greek graphic something here. But we're going into many places. But what is really wonderful about this trip is that we are basing ourselves 5 nights in Cannes to start with, so we're not packing and unpacking all the time. We actually only stay in 4 different places during the trip, so you won't have a in and out of motor coach with suitcases every day. It's a really, really nice way to see and explore the areas, and we are within driving distances. We have a few longer days, but other than that, we are within few hours, even less of driving, to go out, head out and see what we want to see. So that's the map of our tour. And I will just briefly talk about the day that we depart from the United States, which is a Saturday, July 13th. We are going to take an overnight flight. We have American Airlines with us this time, and we're flying over to Paris via Dallas. And we arrive in Paris the following morning. We're leaving here from Omaha, but if you want to leave from anywhere else within the United States, we can help you with that. We can add air from any city in the US. So just let us know if that's your case. You want to join us from somewhere else, we're happy to assist. We're arriving then in Paris the following morning at 9:25, which is really nice. It gives us a full day to start exploring. So jumping into just real brief a map, I think the key area, of course, well, among many, but the D-Day beaches. And Jerry and Birgitta, I'm gonna just leave the presentation to you now, and I will flip the slides here. But if you just want to briefly talk about the map here, and then we go into the highlights.
Yeah, I tell you, this is the great. I really love Normandy, and I know Birgitta. I've fallen in love with it. I said I'd move there in a heartbeat. We get a chance to see some great the beaches of D-Day, the Mulberries, which are the artificial harbors at Arrowmont, the Colville, and the Utah beaches, the cemeteries. It's a package deal. And also Calvados, you go to a farm. I mean, this is all good stuff that you'll see in this region here. And staying in Cannes, that was a brilliant choice from the first trip we did till today, because you're in the heart of Normandy and you can branch out and go to these places. You stay at a fine hotel, and Cannes beautiful too. It's got some great World War II sites too. So and like I said, Birgitta has added a lot to this trip. Pointe du Hoc was one that we had mentioned in the first year that we were there. And I said, well, we got to go. If we're traveling all the way across the country, we got to go there. She said, well, you don't have enough time. Well, she made time. And that's kind of the way this trip works, is it's really organized really well to allow us a little bit of flexibility to make sure we can see all the sites.
That's great. So here are just some of the highlights of the first 5 days where we are based in Cannes.
I can say something about Monet's Garden, because this is something that I managed to put in together with Anna, but also with Jerry's wife, Mary, because the first day is always people are jet lagged. You've been traveling, and I'd like to start out with something easy. And what we do, we go straight from the airport. You get a sandwich lunch, packed lunch, and we go straight to Monet's Garden. In a small village, we enjoy the flowers. You get free time to walk around, just chill, and get some coffee and just hang out before we continue to Normandy. So it's a really good start on a day like that, a travel day. And then we go to one of Jerry's that he asked for as well. It's not an American site, but it's the Pegasus Bridge. So I'll let you, Jerry, talk about that.
And another thing too is these airborne sites that you see here on the deal. You see St. Mary Glees. That's the home, and I'm airborne qualified. So again, one of the things I can bring to the table is I could talk to you about what that was like. The Nebraskans will come into the play later, but the Higgins Memorial. I was a teacher up in Columbus. We built the Andrew Jackson Higgins National Memorial, so I know the Higgins story really well. So we'll talk about the guy that designed the landing craft, which were used during war. So, and then the Calvados in the middle there. Birgitta introduced us to this fine drink here. So we will go to a farm that actually produces it. So it's a great. She's able to tie in a lot of the that exterior stuff that my wife would like, that spouses might like that to do, rather than just military things. So like I said, this is a trip that this is our third time doing it. We've kind of wired it tight as to what we want to do.
Exactly. So we're going to go with, I'm going to just do the next page here, because there are some very, very interesting things. I have a thing with the Mulberry Harbor. That's just me. I won't say I'm addicted to, because that's a negative word, but I am very fond of Churchill. Blenheim Palace also in the UK. I cannot go to London without just driving out there. I love it. I love the way that he figured out how to do this floating harbor. And it's that's a site for me that is still very powerful, to go to the beach there and just imagine how this whole operation happened.
Well, the one thing too that I don't know if it's divine intervention, but Brigida had us show up the second time, and when we were there, and it was at low tide, and you were up on this hill. The picture that you see there is kind of a perfect picture. You're able to see all the casements out there. The whole harbor was out there. It was wonderful. It was a beautiful sight, and there's cool memorials up on that hill too, and some observation points. So then, like I said, Pointe du Hoc. Again, if you look at it, it looks like craters of the moon. That's what it looks like. And you do this walking tour there where the Rangers scaled those cliffs. Colville-sur-Mer, which is the cemetery there, the American cemetery. Mortain. I mean, we go to the hill overlooking Mortain, where our guys, the Nebraskans, had to go and save this division that was surrounded by the Germans there in Mortain. And these are all great sites. Omaha Beach, you see the memorial there. On the beach. I mean, you see it all, and it's a wonder when you look back at how many things you're going to see in the time that you're over there.
That's true, and we also do quite a few wreath layings, which are very, very. I mean, it will touch everyone. It's serious stuff. It's ceremonies where you feel that you really get caught of the atmosphere and everything. We have, I think, Brigida, 4 or 5 wreath laying ceremonies at cemeteries. That is emotional. And I think that adds a lot to the tour as well. You really, really feel you get captured by this. So it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
I have a very, sorry, just chip in a little bit about that. Yeah, I have a very personal relationship with Normandy as well. I worked there a lot. But I actually spent my honeymoon there as well, in Arromanches as well. So I go back a lot, personally as well. And the thing I think it's interesting as well, but I work as a tour guide in Normandy a lot. And Pointe du Hoc is a very special place, as Jerry said. And it's actually, pieces of it is falling down into the water. It's actually erosion. So it will disappear with time. Same for the Mulberry Harbors. We have the remains of them, and they are condemned. They will disappear. We cannot save it all, so for future generations. So I think it's such a privilege to come there and see it, knowing that well, not tomorrow, but still it will disappear with time.
Yeah, and certain things are really moving closer to the cliffs here as well, Brigida, and may just collapse and fall down into the sea. Absolutely. We have a special day also over here. We have the St. Lo Day. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's also a very, very special day.
Well, the only day that we have to concrete be at some place on a certain day, Brigida knows this because we're able to flex on other things if we need to, but July 18th is Liberation Day. This is the day the Nebraska soldiers helped liberate St. Lo, France. And so we are there. We do a hedgerow tour. You see the hedgerows there. Brigida and Ann bring in a great other guide, another expert, subject matter expert there. And we go to Hill 122, which we took, and it cost us 53 Nebraska lives to take. And so we're actually on that hill, and you go down in there, and then we go to 3 ceremonies where we have a Rotary Club lunch at the McClure overlooking old St. Lo, where the memorials are at. It's a pretty emotional day. I mean, we are immersed in that city, and then we go a chance to go down to Brittany American Cemetery at St. James and visit some of our soldiers that are normally not very visited. So it's an emotional day, but boy, I tell you, it's pretty powerful.
It's also the best place to see the hedgerows, because that's something that often American asked me. It's about the hedgerows, and when you're around the American Cemetery and the Omaha Beach and everything, you see a little bit of it, but this is really hedgerow country. And Jerry, you can attest that you've seen some hedgerows there that you were absolutely amazed by, that you went into.
Yeah, they were pristine, like they were 1944. There's pieces of helmets there. I mean, I tell people, I said, you're actually walking on the battlefield, and it's restrictive, meaning it's the photo that we have there. You could see light, but there's some that you're in dark tunnels of these hedgerows, and you just imagine a young soldier from Nebraska trying to fight through there and not seeing the enemy.
Exactly. Then we're moving on. We're moving out. We're going east. We go through Amiens, and Reims, and we will end in Verdun that evening. So that will be our next overnight.
And this was one that Brigitte, I, and Ann added on to the trip. We used to go a southern route, which was a long bus trip, and we'd stop at villages and they'd come out and, wave, and we continue on to Nancy. This is a lot better portion of the trip where we go a little bit farther north to Amiens. The cathedral's beautiful. We go to the Surrender Museum there. It's old school. It's a very old school museum, but you go in the actual room where the surrender took place in May of 1945. And then we added in the Verdun the last time we were there, but now we're adding Meuse-Argonne. Meuse-Argonne Cemetery, American Cemetery, has Nebraska soldiers from the National Guard that fought in World War I that are buried there. And I was just telling before, I doubt very few people, Nebraskans, have gone to this cemetery. So it's a good trip to go to Nancy is this route. So I really appreciate Executive Travel's team putting this part into the trip.
And I think it's actually very nice to add just a little touch from World War I, because we do focus on World War II, of course, but this gives us the opportunity to actually go through an area that played a very big role also in the First War. So
something that's very important for me as a tour guide, because World War II is actually the part 2 of World War I. So being able to speak about this, it's really, really interesting. And Verdun was one of the 2 worst battles in France during World War I. You had Somme in Belgium and France, and you had Verdun. We think that is about 1 million men died in 10 months' time at the Battle of Verdun, Germans and French mainly. And this is, so it's a very touching visit. And then the Meuse-Argonne Cemetery is the biggest American cemetery in France, military cemetery, with about 1,400 graves. It's actually a road going through. It's so enormous. So that's going to be a touching visit as well.
And then we are, I think, in the city that we all just fell in love with, love at first sight, in Nancy, for many reasons, but I'll let you speak about that. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site with a stunning light show in the evenings in the summertime, that at the time that we are there, we're able to enjoy that during the nights that we have in Nancy. It's just absolutely wonderful. But that's not the reason. It's not a light show that we want to show you, and that's not why we're based in Nancy. There are other reasons. So tell us why, dear friends.
Well, I tell you, going to Nancy, we liberated that in September of 1944. And again, it was an open city. It was destroyed like St. Lo was, but it does. I tell you, we stay right off of the courtyard there the last couple of times. The light show is beautiful. The mayor, if you look directly at that photo in the upper left there and you see the statue, the balcony behind there, that's where there's a photograph of our men standing on that in September of 44 when they received the keys to the city, which we have in the museum. So Nancy is a big thing for us. But there's some battles around there that we go and visit. You'll see Plavenet Bridge down in the lower left there. That bridge was blown just after our guys ran across it there, and the Germans pushed us back into the river. It was a huge battle. Oh, you see the Lorraine American Museum. It looks like a barn. And found that
it is a barn.
It's just full of American. I mean, I think we left half our supplies back there in that barn. So you look at that; it's got really cool stuff. The Lorraine American Cemetery. We'll visit 2 other battlefields. We'll go to St. Vincent, I think, and then Sugarloaf. Those type of battles are around Nancy. But the Lorraine American Cemetery is the largest American cemetery in France for World War II. And again, it is beautiful, and we do a wreath laying ceremony there. But some of our heroes are there. The last American that was killed in France in World War II is from just down the road at Dorchester. He's buried there in the Lorraine American Cemetery. So there's lots of ties to this whole story that we bring in. Brigitte?
Yeah, absolutely. Nancy, I think that everyone, every time when we've done the touring, we visited a lot of things, and we arrive in Nancy, and people just go, "Oh, this is lovely." And it's a lovely city. It's very beautiful, and the visits around are very, I think, they're very tied to Nebraska. They're very tied to it's very personal. I have the feeling every time that it's very personal. And then often, if we can manage, we are welcomed by the mayor of the city. everything depends. We cannot guarantee it, but we have a good relationship with them, and we are always very welcome. People know that we're coming. We always get a lot of press, and so it's a great welcome coming to Nancy every day, every time.
Yep, and we continue. Then we start heading up north a little bit, not too far of a drive, but we're heading through Luxembourg, and we are arriving in Belgium later on. So with some amazing stops along the way, very, very important. I remember when I went out to find L'Outre-Bois the first time myself, I felt there was a very special aura. You literally drive through fields and you find this place that where Americans were shot, and there was big battle going on there too. Very impressive. Just there is an aura about this entire area as well. But it's not only that, it's the Battle of the Bulge. It's also the American Cemetery, Luxembourg Cemetery is amazing, and then the War Museum. So, and I know you both also love these stops, and they are musts, of course.
Well, the big thing about this trip is it also applies to other veterans' families. And, you know, if you got a tie, you say, well, my dad wasn't with the Nebraska soldiers. Well, it's the same territory. We go from Normandy, we go to Nancy, we go up to Bastogne. It's the same area. I mean, if you want to go and see where, you know, your loved one fought or maybe died, this will be the trip to go on. And I'm telling you, when you found that spot at L'Outre-Bois where our medics were surrounded by the SS and they were killed, there's that memorial there. It's a really touching. And the Bastogne War Museum is very modern, but again, American Cemetery at Luxembourg, you know, if you look at that picture there, between those two flags is probably the most famous character of World War II, and that's George Patton. He's right there. He's buried at the head of his army there. And so, again, we have men buried there, and we do a flag raise. Matter of fact, they let us take the flag, retire the colors at the end of the day. Remember that brigade at the end of the day? Yeah. They did taps, and they retired the colors, and they asked our veterans to retire the flags. It's quite a deal. And I love the fact that this trip has the flexibility to do things, because Brigida can make a decision on the fly that I'll agree with 99.9% of the time, because it's for the benefit of the group, and it works well. She knows these people, and so we have this relationship we built with all the superintendents of all the cemetery. I mean, it's they are there to service us over other groups. Trust me, I've seen other groups don't get the love that we do. So again, that's one of those benefits of doing this.
Exactly. Our last 2 nights are spent in Spa. And Brigida, it is the spa.
Yeah, it's the spa.
I know that I live in Greece, and we love to say that everything began in Greece, but I gotta take hats off for Spa here, and it's a beautiful city as well. Very, very pretty city. Another UNESCO World Heritage Site. Yes. We're spending 2 nights here. We'll come in the evening, and then we have a full day where I know that Jerry has planned on maybe just a short wing over to the Netherlands, come back that day, but you can also relax the last day, do a spa treatment, of course, and from there we are returning to Paris to fly back home via Chicago. We have an afternoon flight, which is great, so we don't need to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and drive to Paris airport. It's a longer drive, but we'll get up in the morning, have our breakfast early, and then head down to Paris to fly back home. Just a stop in Chicago. It's a great schedule. But Brigida, anything you want to just mention here about Spa as a city?
No, well, the city itself, it's fantastic. It's actually they have about 20 mineral springs. And so you can get baths, spa treatments, and even drink the water. And it was made famous in the 18th century by the emperor, the brother of Marie Antoinette, that was killed during the French Revolution. So it goes back a long time, and it's a fantastic small town, calm, beautifully surrounded by forest. So if you feel that after a long tour, you need some relaxation, you use the day to go to to get some spa treatments and just enjoy. They're very good cafes there, and there's actually the Formula One competition going on when we are there. So they have a race car. So it's going to be a lot of people there. I think a lot of fancy cars and everything. So it's going to be quite an experience. And and for those who do want to go off, we are planning to go into the Netherlands for visiting the cemetery, the American cemetery in Margraten. So that's going to be another country added actually to it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to just briefly talk about, and all this is also in our tour brochure. If you would like to get a hard copy, we're happy to mail that out to you. But I'll just go over briefly what the pricing is. We have a land price of $4,995. We do have single rooms available as well, of course, at a supplement, so that goes to $6,500. And then we have the group airfare with American Airlines in and out of Omaha. But if anybody wants to join us from another city, that is absolutely possible. Usually, not an additional fee. There might be, though, $50 or $100 at the max to fly from a different point. And what we try to do always is to have you meet on the outbound. It is in Dallas. So get you all gathered there. If you come from a different airport, gather you all in Dallas, fly over to Brigitte at Charles de Gaulle in Paris together. And then again, for the return, fly back home together through Chicago, and then you take off to different domestic airports if that is the case. We have included more or less everything. You have your overnights at the 4-star star rated local hotels, breakfast. We have an extra meal every day, dinners and lunches. We have tastings like Brigitte and Jerry said, the Calvados. We do champagne. We're also going to taste some cheeses, all the transportation. Jerry, you are included in the tour too. You are too, Brigitte. So that's the experts, and I guarantee you cannot get anybody better than this. It's amazing. We do keep the tour pretty small because we love to have some extra space in our motor coach. So we will limit this to a max of 35. We may even stop it at 30. The minimum is 25. We will go, though, I believe, if we are at 20. So sign up for this trip as soon as you see that you have an interest. I will say this as well. If it should happen for some unknown reason that we can't go and we cancel the tour due to a lack of participants, you will be paid back in full. All your funds will be paid back to you, and that includes also the insurance premium. If you have signed up for travel insurance via us, through us, that will be refunded too. So you have no risk of signing up. So if you feel that you're interested in this, sign up so we can guarantee the tour pretty quickly. We already have the half of what we need to guarantee the tour. So we are at 8 people in total. So just please sign up, let us know you're interested, and you really do not have any risk at all registering for joining us here. Just real briefly, maybe the weather. I know that we will get those questions. So just 3 things here. The weather is warm. It's summer. We've had one time, I think our first tour even had a heat wave over in France, but we are staying at properties with air conditioning, so that is a good thing. And of course, just imagine, like Jerry always says, imagine how these soldiers were going through these areas in the summer and the winter where it gets really, really cold. Weather is great for touring. It's July. That's the time we want to be there. We have the 18th of July celebration in St. Lo, so it's not that we can move the dates. This is the time we're going. The currency is pretty easy. It's euro in every location that you're at, and you actually have a really good value for your dollars right now. The euro to the dollar is almost 1-to-1, so that is great. And I know we always get the question of how we're going to dress. Are there dress codes? No, absolutely not. Casual is what you do. Wear your great sandals, wear steady footwear. We are walking, but we're also driving a lot. But we're out in a hedgerow, and you want to walk through that because you want to get that experience, of course. You want to cross a bridge. You want to be out there. So just casual, whatever you feel comfortable with, and just wear your good old shoes that you worn before, and not the new fancy shoes. That's not a trip to put those on. More information, you are welcome to reach out to me here at Executive Travel. We have the informations here, but also Jerry Meyer up at the National Guard Museum in Seward is always available. We put the phone number for both of us here on the last slide, just to give you that information. You can find us also on the websites of both places, so Executive Travel or the Nebraska National Guard Museum. You can always reach out to us. That's what I want to say. And from our side, thank you for joining. Jerry and Brigitte, it's been, the 2 trips we've done have been literally been life-changing to the people on the tours. I am beyond thrilled to do this again. It's the most, I think I dare to say, the most meaningful journey that we have. And it is emotional, but it's good emotional. So thank you for joining and for being on the call here. I don't know if you just want to round up yourself as well, but from our side as the organizer, thank you for joining. Jerry, Brigitte?
I would say that what Ann just said is, you know, it is a life-changing deal, and this coalesces and Brigitte sees it, because when they start off, everybody's different, and they come together and it becomes one big bus, one big happy fan. It does. I've noticed it every time we've done this trip, and we do a after trip party get together potluck here at the museum. So I mean, you're part of a bigger group, and we've had people go, and we'll have people again. We'll go all 3 times because it's that good. So.
And don't forget that this year is the 80th anniversary of D-Day, which it makes it a very special year. We're not there for the 6th of June, luckily, because it's going to be chaos. But we're coming afterwards. They've cleaned everything. They prepared everything for us. So when we arrive, we can enjoy it in a better way. But it's a special year, so definitely. And it's always a great group to travel with. This is my favorite period of the year, when I get out to go with Jerry and speak about the things that I love. So that's perfect. So don't hesitate, just come.
Thank you so much, dear friends. And anybody, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you so much. Thank you.